Imagine waking to find the world you knew has vanished. Not in a flash of nuclear fire, but in a quiet, creeping emptiness. A cityscape stripped of its pulse, where the only sound is the wind through abandoned streets. This is the haunting premise of Danny Boyle's 2002 film 28 Days Later, a work that begins not with spectacle, but with profound silence. To understand why this film feels so unsettlingly intimate, we must look at how it was made. Shot primarily on early digital video cameras, Canon XL1s, Boyle and cinematographer Anthony Dodd Mantle embraced a gritty, immediate aesthetic. This wasn't just a budget choice, it was a philosophical one. The digital grain, the shaky handheld shots, the muted palette, and the daylight scenes, all of it creates a documentary-like realism. You aren't watching a polished Hollywood nightmare, you're witnessing a collapse that feels alarmingly possible. The production was famously guerrilla style. Key scenes in a deserted London were filmed in brief, early morning windows, sometimes with only a handful of permits and minimal traffic control. That emptiness you feel, it's genuine. The crew captured a metropolis in momentary hibernation, a feat that would be nearly impossible today with modern digital crowd replication. This authenticity bleeds into every frame, grounding the horror in a tangible reality. But the film's technical innovation extends to its soundscape. Composer John Murphy's score is sparse, often giving way to diegetic silence or the chilling sounds of the infected, a guttural, animalistic rage. The iconic theme, In the House in a Heartbeat, doesn't accompany action heroics, it underscores dread, panic, and the frantic rhythm of a heartbeat pushed to its limit. Sound designer Glenn Fremantle crafted an aural environment where quiet is as threatening as noise. At its core, 28 Days Later is less about zombies and more about a virus, both biological and social. The rage virus acts as a brutal metaphor. It doesn't create monsters from nothing. It amplifies a primal, violent impulse already latent within humanity. The infected are not the walking dead. They are living humans stripped of everything but aggression, a terrifying reflection of our own capacity for fury. This leads us to the film's central, devastating question: in the aftermath of collapse, what defines humanity? The narrative carefully contrasts two responses. Jim, our everyman protagonist played with fragile vulnerability by Cillian Murphy, represents a clinging to empathy and connection. His journey is one of reluctant adaptation from confused survivor to determined protector. Opposite him stands Major Henry West, the Army officer holed up in a mansion. West presents a chilling answer. Humanity is defined by control, by the imposition of order at any cost. His plan to secure a future by forcing reproduction upon Selena and Hannah isn't just monstrous. It's a logical endpoint of a certain survivalist ideology. The real horror the film suggests may not be the mindless rage outside the walls, but the calculated brutality we rationalize inside them. The film's structure reinforces this theme. The first act is a solo journey through emptiness. The second act forms a fragile family unit with Selena, Hannah, and Frank. The third act shatters that unit upon encountering another group of survivors. Each stage represents a different layer of societal rebuilding, and each is compromised. Community, the film argues, is both our greatest hope and our most volatile vulnerability. Notice how Boyle frames the English landscape. It's not a ruined wasteland, but a country reverting to a feral state. Lush greenery reclaims cities, animals roam free. This isn't a dead world, it's a world continuing without us. The apocalypse is presented not as an end, but as a reset, one where humanity is no longer the dominant species. This ecological perspective adds a layer of profound humility to the survival struggle. The performances are keyed into this intimate scale. Naomi Harris's Selena is a masterpiece of hardened pragmatism masking deep trauma. Her rule, surviving is as good as it gets, is a survival mantra born from unbearable loss. Brendan Gleeson's Frank provides the film's warm, tragic heart a reminder of the normalcy that has been erased. Their interactions feel less like scripted dialogue and more like the tentative, broken communication of people who have forgotten how to trust. Even the infected are given a specific, terrifying logic. They are fast, relentless, and operate in a frenzied present tense. This broke decisively from the slow, shambling zombie trope, injecting the genre with a new kind of visceral panic. Their design, bloody eyes, vomited blood, is medical and acute, not supernatural. They are patient zero in a perpetual state of crisis, making their attacks feel like outbreaks rather than battles. The film's climax is notably small-scale. There is no grand victory, no reclaimed city. Instead, we get a desperate, claustrophobic struggle in a manor house, followed by a quiet escape to the countryside. The final act is a personal triumph, not a global one. Jim doesn't save the world, he saves his small, chosen family. The message is stark. In a broken world, salvation is measured in inches, not miles. And then there's the ending, a subject of much debate. The spliced-in footage of a jet fighter, a hint of possible rescue, was a studio edition. Boyle's preferred ending was more ambiguous. Just the cottage, the 3 survivors, and the Hello banner flapping in the wind. Even in its compromised form, the finale retains its power. It's hopeful, but it's a fragile, uncertain hope. The banner isn't a signal to a saved world. It's a signal into the unknown. 22 years later, 28 days later, endures because it understood that the most profound horrors are intimate. It traded epic scale for emotional depth, special effects for psychological effect. It demonstrated that the end of the world is not an event, but a process, a slow unraveling of every social contract, every assumed safety, every definition of self. The film leaves us with a lingering unease, because its true monster is not the infected, but the void they create. The silence of an empty London, the silence of lost history, the silence between people who no longer know what to say. In that silence, we are forced to ask what parts of ourselves we would fight to preserve and what we might become in the effort to survive. 28 Days Later offers no easy answers, only a haunting, beautifully crafted mirror held up to our own fragile civilization. Thank you for watching until the end. We pour our passion into every single video essay, exploring the stories behind the movies we all love. If you stumbled upon this video by chance, there is a very high probability you might never see our channel again in your feed. So please, take a moment to hit that subscribe button, leave a like, and ring the bell. We are actively growing this community of cinema lovers, and your support is what helps us make our content better and more insightful every single day. Let's explore the magic of filmmaking together. See you in the next one.